We're in beautiful Emporia, Kansas, where thousands of riders mark their calendar each year for the opportunity to take on miles and miles of the gorgeous Flint Hills.
The North course is punchier and chunkier.
It's a beast. It's chunky. Like the gravel, it's just like these massive rocks.
This event takes respect and it takes significant preparation.
It's one of the most unpredictable races because of flat tires and mechanicals that can happen to equipment.
It's just a beatdown. Like, I don't care how hard you train, I don't care how gnarly of terrain you ride on a regular basis. To race 200 miles on this terrain is just so destructive.
High speeds, more chaos in the field.
Everyone's just up in the game. Like, it's just one little notch after one little notch.
The competition level is through the roof. I think this is probably the most competitive field we've ever had. A result at Unbound means a lot because it's a race that people around the world have heard of.
Unbound started in the parking lot on the northwest side of town with 36 riders, and most of them were from just around the region. It was not a big national event.
It's changed a lot. Obviously starting in 2006 with no GPS and just cue sheets. In the early days, it was a little bit more choose your own adventure, if you will.
20 years ago, Emporia was not a cycling town. There were a dozen of us that rode bikes. Now there are hundreds. Of the 4,000 people lining up to take on Unbound, 10% of them come from within a 20-mile radius of Emporia, Kansas. It has completely transformed the identity of who we are right here in Emporia.
Lifetime coming on board with us in 2019 was a big game changer. Lifetime definitely believes in building community and healthy way of life.
There's a history before Lifetime at Unbound Gravel, and there's a history in Emporia, Kansas before Unbound Gravel, and it's our job to preserve the ethos of the event and to ensure that when people leave Emporia, Kansas, they know what the Flint Hills is, who the people that live here are, what they do. But it's this community that makes Unbound Gravel so special.
There are rocks flying everywhere. There are crashes happening.
It is really hard to focus for 10.5 hours.
Perfect world scenarios don't exist in Unbound.
I don't know if anyone has ever finished Unbound and not just had everything hurting. It just beats up your entire body.
It's such a race of attrition. You're gonna feel it so bad. Just brutal all the way around.
Unbound is the champagne of gravel, baby.
Is the biggest gravel event in the world from what I hear. And I'm new to racing and I thought there's a lot I can learn out here, not just from the course, but from the people that are involved.
I rode 300k a couple of weeks ago on the road and that was all right. But this has got a bit more climbing than I had in that and I've never ridden that far before. So it's not far outside, but it's enough to be intimidating a little bit.
My son is actually in one of the races, so we decided to come down here and watch him and make ourselves useful.
It just means the spirit of gravel and just like, it's like there's no limits. You're gonna be maxed out, it's gonna be a mental challenge, it's gonna be a physical challenge, and you're out in the middle of nowhere and it's just you, your bike, and you know, whatever you can put together mentally on the day, you know, whatever comes out of the wash is going to come out and you're going to have a real winner.
Man, this is my first time here and so far the atmosphere, people, is something else. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Definitely this will be in my calendar every year.
We're gonna do the Unbound Gravel 2025. You know, we're coming up on what is it, like 4:30 now. We're in a pretty good place with the setup. You know, nothing's left now but the riders. You know, we're just waiting on them to get here and get this thing going.
A little bit about our course map out there today. We've got, I want to walk everyone through what our riders are going to be facing. Those first 25 odd miles heading north out of town, kind of a gentle start to the day, letting all our riders know what they are in for. Doesn't come until about mile 26 or so, but that's going to be the first real section of the race that everyone considers. That's Caw Reserve Road, the first section of pretty challenging gravel up that way. From there, it's on to Eskridge, which of course is the first neutral water stop of the day. Just beyond Eskridge is, of course, the infamous Divide Road section, another challenging spot. Then it's on to Alma, and the first of 2 checkpoints out on the course. After that, Little Egypt is always one of the toughest sections of the course. That's going to come right around 104 miles. From there, we'll head towards Council, or Alta Vista rather, where they'll continue to head southbound, and Council Grove then will be the second feed zone out on the course, where they have an opportunity to connect with their staff for the final time of the day. Just south of Council Grove, the course starts to head a little bit more eastbound, and at roughly 75 miles, that's when they start to hit the Lake Cahola area. 2-step climb, wide open, one of the last big challenges that they face before they start to make their way back into town. After Lake Cahola, it gets a little bit rolling. No big significant climbs or significant gravel sectors on the way back into town, but wind is the story of the day at that point. Crosswinds and tailwinds will be pushing the riders all the way back into town. Highland Hill by the University, the final hard section before finishing right back here on Commercial Street. This year at Unbound Gravel, presented by Shimano, we have the biggest field that we've ever had in its 19-year history. Over 5,000 athletes racing across all the distances. It's going to be the biggest day we've seen yet here in Emporia. And it's also stop number 2 on the 2025 Life Time Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. Now I'm just excited.
What's the plan for today?
Oh, trying to survive. Yeah. Not have plans. Yeah, just trying to enjoy it. It's Hugo's birthday. Don't forget, huh?
Absolutely. I'll wish him a happy birthday out there, right?
Currently sitting second overall, he's the champion of South Africa. Welcome, Matt Beers. Your current overall leader of the Life Time Grand Prix, welcome Mr. Keegan Swenson. In 3, 2, 1, Well, this year we've got more international competition than ever. It's been great to see almost 50% of our riders in attendance for our Pro Men's Lifetime Grand Prix event coming from overseas. Again, that first 25 or so miles, relatively tame in terms of the Flint Hills gravel that the riders see, but always a very fast pace as they make their way toward Caw Reserve Road. And that opening pace, that was upwards of about 24, 25 miles an hour. And what we saw happen was we saw a big group pacing kind of coming out of the start there. We saw some riders with a little mishap early, but the big talk was we saw a big group of roughly 15 riders separating very early. Looks like that group includes Cam Jones, Simone Pelot, Toby Reed, and Maz Wirtz-Schmidt. Well, if this group stays out in front, it could make for some very interesting moves later on in the race. Well, as always, one of the notables in our men's field is Alexei Varmulin. We caught up with Alexei before the race.
Okay. The goal of today is kind of twofold. One, I want to be ready for rule of 3. I want to make sure don't get injured, nothing stupid happens, and also can race effectively. Got a little 50-30 5-mile ride. I'm Alexei Vermeulen. I race bikes professionally, and I'm probably most well known for riding with my little dog, Willie. So racing gravel professionally in the US has changed quite a bit from what I grew up doing on the road. Gone from very focused racing on winning, and that being the only focus of the day, to the minute you're off the bike, you have so many other jobs. Yeah, we are still answering your questions from last time. There's always been this dream to create things that inspire people, but also educate along the way. We kind of had this idea about 3 years ago about why don't we do a YouTube channel? A little vlog style here, a little race report there. But I was very excited by this idea that you could reach people who weren't at the race. And so how do you give them something to interact and be involved with, or motivate them to come the next year? It's through content. It's just, I really enjoy talking to people. I enjoy being around the expo. I enjoy creating content. It's not stressful to me. You see a lot of guys kind of wrapping their bars further. I think it's just being honest with yourself, knowing that, okay, I have this amount of time and this amount of hours to do things, and I need to build this week out so that I can be the best athlete I can at the end of the week, while doing as many of these off the bike endeavors that I've been asked to do. Going into this year, the Grand Prix is my entire focus. I'm doing other races around it, but they're all a chance to prepare for the Grand Prix. I think the first couple years of the Grand Prix, I was just trying to figure it out, see what I wanted to do. It worked out, I was lucky sometimes. This year I want to put some pressure on myself. I want to try to win it, I want to take down the King Keegan. Racing to win's different. This also means racing to possibly lose. A lot of these races, there's so many great guys now that you can't win by just sitting there and hoping that you're the best at the finish line, because it's not going to work. I'd love to be going to Unbound ahead of Keegan, but I'm not. To me, when I started this year, tactically I said, no questions asked, I have to beat Keegan at Sea Otter or Unbound. That's the mindset. I don't need to win the race, I have to beat Keegan. Unbound to me is mentally tough. It is really hard to focus for 10.5 hours and not make a mistake. And I'm talking about not hitting a rock, not taking a corner wrong, not overlapping a wheel, getting all your food, being able to eat all your food. It's never ending. It's a lot about luck, but it's at the end of the day, it's a lot about how mentally resilient are you, because something's gonna go wrong. How do you solve it? I think I'm most excited to just go out there and race. I know I'm fit. I think always the first race of the year is nerve-wracking, but once you kind of set a pecking order, it's just about getting down to business and racing a bike like you can.
Well, let's see if Alexei has it in the legs today.
Hey, Emporia, what do you guys and girls think? Are you ready to send our women out there on course?
Ladies and gentlemen, your current overall leader of the Life Time Grand Prix, welcome, Sofia Gomez Villafane. Of Emporia, please welcome back, Paige Onweller.
Let's try this one more time. Hey, Emporia, are you ready? Now y'all are warmed up and ready to go here today. Our women are going to bring the heat out here on course. We are going to go at 6:05. So, riders, we will give you a little count, and Emporia, you're going to make noise one more time. In 3, 2, 1, we are underway.
And our women's race is underway. It's a stacked field here today and looks to be an exciting race. 5 minutes after 6, so 15-minute gap once again, just like we did last year.
Oh man, I'm so excited for today's race. The women put on a show last year. I expect the same thing from them today. And as the women roll off the line, and then you can feel those nerves, and they got off to a great start, and we're just waiting to see what happens today at the finish line.
Yeah, it was a great start for the women, and lots going on in that first part of the women's race. We know there was a couple of crashes early on. It looked like nobody got really injured. Most of the riders, save one, I think, got back in the mix.
Here we see the crash, as you said there. But we believe there was one rider who wasn't able to get going. Emily Newsom was one of the riders down, who was, I think, the last rider to get back on her bike, but she did catch back up to the group, so she's now in the big chase again.
I think maybe to get a little more information, we've got our friend Lauren Hall out there following along at the front of the women's race, so we should probably move on over to Lauren. And Lauren, what is going on up there at the front?
We are only a couple of miles into the race, guys, and we've already had a touch of wheels, a small crash. The anticipation of today has been so intense, trying to figure out tire choices leading into the conditions of today, having so much rain the last couple of days, and I think everyone has changed over and over their tire choices. Woo! Got some bubbles coming through already. This is going to be a great day. These women are flying.
The real story was Gabby Traxel getting off the front pretty early, Meredith.
Yeah, but Gabby Traxler was the story of the morning as she went off the front solo. Former road racer, had a major crash in 2023, has been able to bounce back from that, and has now devoted her time to gravel racing in 24, and here she's back again in 25.
Yeah, Gabby getting so much as I think about a 2.5-minute lead at one point, which was really quite impressive. Our women's chase is full of notable athletes, including the likes of Paige Onweller, Lauren De Crescenzo, May-Lisa Rollins, and many more. May-Lisa Rollins is fighting in this chase pack. She's a former winner of the Leadville Trail 100 and is set up for a huge day here at Unbound. Let's hear a little bit from May-Lisa.
Since winning Leadville, I went from sort of being like a top 20 finisher to now I'm consistently finishing top 5 or just outside of the top 5 in every race, and always sort of being a part of the main group or what's happening in the race. I wouldn't say that before I won Leadville I was not strong enough. It was something clicked, and now I feel confident and I'm ready to be a part of the race. I mean, before that, I always struggled with confidence and believing in myself and not really sure if I belonged. Every time I saw myself on a start line, I always kind of like counted myself halfway in, not fully in. But yeah, I think sort of proving what I knew deep down that I was capable of has sort of helped me build confidence to know that, yeah, I was selected in the Grand Prix to race because I can race and I can race well. In these long, really hard races, you have to have some kind of like emotional attachment to winning because they're really freaking hard, and that's the deciding factor in the last hour, in the last 10 miles, in the last 5 miles, at the last moment, is who really freaking wants it. Everyone's gonna have some kind of low in the race. Not every low is created equal, but everyone will have lows. So if you can make it through your low, the best, I think that's who wins Unbound.
It's always great to hear from May-Lisa. But before Divide Road, a group of 4 women broke away, hunting down the current leader, the Canadian Gabby Traxler. Coming at about mile 45.5, Divide Road presents one of the toughest stretches of terrain on the entire route. Following Eskridge, this roughly 6-mile stretch is a straight shot with a relentless onslaught of rough, rocky paths, setting the stage for the challenges to come. Let's catch up with our men.
We have them screaming up front. It is now single file. They are pinned, rolling in 40-plus miles into this like they are fresh. Looks like Simone and teammate are doing a great job out front here today. Time to get some fuel, keep those tanks topped off as much as possible. The last few miles and kilometers, there was not any chance of grabbing a bottle or getting any hydration in. They were in the drops. There was no sitting onto the hoods. The terrain was just too gnarly, and the pace, incredible today. So much stress on the front end of this pointy group. So many new players. The Euros have come over, done their homework, wanted to get out front, and the rest of the experienced players hoping that they can keep that contact, but man, it got narrow back there. These two really pulling away right now. The remaining 18 behind, doing what they can to get hydrated, but they are losing a little bit of contact. This may be the break.
As Simone Pelot and Cameron Jones begin their breakaway, let's check in with the women.
All right, guys, we have just come through some of the muddy sections that everyone was checking out at the pre-race, pre-rides. Gabby basically has her choice of line selection. It looked like she was running a more of a slick in the center of her tire with just a little bit of knobby on the edge. And when she came through that mud section just right there, I mean, you could definitely tell she was all over the road and really fighting that bike and trying to keep it upright. But again, she would rather pay the price here, hence her part of her, probably some of her race strategy to be up the road and be more efficient with that slick versus having a more knobby tire that's going to bite more in that mud. But yeah, she is still, guys, she's just smoking it right now.
Likely for a bit.
As the women chase, add another rider to the hunt. Let's check in with the men. Cam Jones and Simone Pelot are still leading at the front of the race, making it look awful easy. But the burning question is, will they be able to hold on to this lead? Well, that's anyone's guess at this point. But for now, let's check in with Nat Ross just in front of the leaders at the base of Christie Road.
We got the Kiwi and the Swiss leading the cows up the pasture here. They think they're going to get fed, but these two really breaking away from the main group, out of sight. And look at the gap that they have put down today. Very cohesive. These two breakaway strategists have put it together. The formula's working for them in their favor. Okay, at this age, 70 miles into the race, focus strategy. Cam looking for his crew. Simone has got the BMC team out here ready to do a bottle handoff and then some. You can tell from the lenses on these guys that the visibility, if they can get a swap of glasses or lenses, they will take it. More intricately. Here we go. Simone off with the pack. Cam trying to get visibility of his crew. Simone dropping one pack. There he goes. Look at that smooth from Joan. Got another pack. He is topped off, ready to go. Cam still looking for his crew in the feed zone.
And at roughly mile 70.6, Cam Jones and Simone Pelot still lead the chasers by about 2 minutes. Heading out of our first feed zone, Pelot appears to slow down just a little bit for Cam to catch back up so they can continue to work together. Well, the Swiss veteran knows it's still a long way to go, and the odds are better with a little bit of help. Gabby Traxler continues to maintain her lead heading into Christie Road, but the gap has significantly decreased. The chase group has now dwindled to only 3, but they're reeling in our leader. And they pass her just before the feed zone at mile 70. Heading into this feed, this gives us a new lead group consisting of Lauren Stevens, Carolina Migon, and Cecily Decker, with a 2.5-minute gap over Traxler and a 7-minute gap over the chase group. Let's touch base with Lauren and see what's going on at the front of our women's race.
Fast, dusty course. How does it get any faster? Oh my gosh, we just seeing Caro just overcooking that corner right there. Oh my goodness, saving it, coming back. And yeah, you just got to think everyone is working well together, even though you say like Pas Normal, they may not essentially be they're on the same kit, maybe not the same team, but yeah, everyone working well.
And let's just stop and take a moment to recognize just how amazing our athletes are. While leading the race, Simone Pilot pulls out chain lube and offers to help lube Cam Jones' chain while they're racing. Sure, it gives them an advantage to continue riding with a partner to share the workload at the front, but what a class act.
All right, we're here at the notorious Little Egypt, mile 104. It's a 2.3 mile long section. It includes 2 descents and 2 climbs, and you drop down into this descent first. And it gets narrow really quickly as you come around a corner, kind of off-camber corner, across this bridge, dive into these trees. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite sections. And right now there's a bunch of standing water right at the bottom in that turn. Absolutely single file through here. I remember actually last year, Matej Mohoric, the current world champion, double flatted right in this section, but it just causes mayhem. The climbs are hard, but the descents are absolutely as decisive. So this is the first climb of 2 on the Little Egypt section. It's really steep, one of the steepest climbs on course. It's really narrow, but everyone talks about the rocks. Regardless of whether all the potentially muddy sections on the rest of the course dry out or not, this part will be gnarly because it's rocky. You can see just how big the stones are, and because it's getting to be, you know, make or break time in the race, people are getting tired. Line choice is really tough. A lot of times there's really only one good line because of how rocky it is. If you want to switch sides on the 2 track because someone else in front of you is losing the wheel in front of you, it's going to be hard to switch lanes. This section is just notorious for being pivotal in the race, and a lot of it is because of this climb right here.
Here come our 2 leaders around the corner, just about to enter into Little Egypt. Pilot and Jones are still way off the front at this point, about a 7-minute lead ahead of the peloton going into the very same spot. And we'll jump back in time and see the peloton coming around that very same corner again, nearly 7 minutes down, and trying their hardest to catch up to these 2 leaders who seem absolutely unstoppable on the day. As our men's chase group now heads into Little Egypt, we've got Keegan Swenson, Toby Reed, Brendan Johnston, Ian Boswell, Jasper Oakleone, and Joris Nieuwenhuis. Let's see if this star-studded group can make any headway into catching our 2 leaders. One of those men in the chase group, the Frenchman, Hugo Drechu, unfortunately found himself just a little spent at Little Egypt and decided to pull out of the race.
I was expecting one better day because it's my birthday today, but I decided to don't continue because was impossible today.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. What do you want to say to Axel to cheer her on?
She's very, very strong. She's very strong. I'm the first love of Axel. So yeah, I will follow this with for sure.
We see Paige Onweller on screen, and we got a chance to catch up with Paige before the race, and here's what she had to say.
My name is Paige Onweller, and I am a professional off-road cyclist. I ride bikes fast. Sometimes.
This is one of the bikes I'm going to race. This is likely the race bike. This is a checkpoint set up with 2 twos, front and rear. It's what we call the beefy boy.
So we are about just over a week out from Unbound. I head there early because I really like the community and I love the riding there.
All right, bike number 2.
It's such a important race and an important week that you really do need a lot of extra time to prep everything and recon. The amount of equipment that you need to bring to Unbound is pretty insane.
More wheels, more bikes. This is a new bike.
Me personally, I have really good support. I'll be bringing 2 bikes and 5 wheel sets. That just speaks volumes to the equipment that you need, but also the carnage of the course. You have to have your equipment dialed, you have to have backups, you gotta be ready to break anything during recon week and have another ready to go. In 2023, I had pretty bad mechanical that ended my day. You come to expect these mechanicals, and you also come to respect the race. I line up at Unbound knowing there's a chance that I have a day-ending mechanical again. You have to accept that. It can be gut-wrenching, to say the least. You build your whole first part of the year for this race. So to come back and have such a good year just meant a lot. It was really validating because that race and that community is just important to me, and I want to do well there. 2024 Unbound set the precedent for gravel for all events. Historically, gravel has always been a mass start event. So the elite men, the elite women, and amateurs, we all start together. However, in 2024, Life Time at Unbound, they did a separate start. That was the first time the women truly had our own race. We had a 9-up sprint for the win at Unbound, which is amazing. We showed the world how cool and how strong and how dynamic like our race can be.
Just a totally different experience. That was the first time we've ever raced together, all of the women.
Good job, Sam. In the end, I feel like we really put on the show that we're capable of. Good job, Hannah.
No matter what my result would have been today, that was definitely the highlight of the race, and it's just so cool to see the women like doing it.
Unfortunately, Paige was dropped from the chase group at just after Little Egypt, so maybe not the day she'd been hoping for.
You know, every year we go faster. I think there's no way we can possibly go faster, and then it just happens again. The depth of field just continues to increase. All that said, I do think there could be some historically fast conditions this year. All that rain that we got midweek, like Nat was kind of referencing, does create some extra tackiness and traction in those corners. And even on a course like this that's so long, that's so rugged, that doesn't have as many twists and turns maybe as some other gravel courses, traction still does matter. Momentum absolutely matters. And even though those might be small differences over the course of 200 miles, it all adds up.
Right now we're looking at our women's chase group. It's now down to 8 riders, so curious to see if that gap is going to come down. We see G in there. We see Sofia in there as well. So, yeah, again, we wonder if maybe there's a little more unity. Maybe there's a little more cohesion in there. LDC at the back of the
Just
group.
a rut.
Yeah,
she just got sideways in a rut, and it was uphill too.
It's devastating to see LDC crash like that. She's so well known for her breakaway game, but it looks like this year may not be in the cards.
With the dust off. This was the prize in 2021. This is my belt buckle. I should really do something with this, like turn it into a belt or something. So I am known as a bit of a breakaway specialist. It's my signature move, I guess. I do a lot of things that just feel right in the moment. Just the solo breakaways. Ultimately, I just really like riding by myself, I think. I like taking the risk. People are scared to do it, but I like to be brave and embark on like a 90-mile breakaway.
Her second win at the rad. She's got to be so happy with this.
I'm willing to take the chance and do what it takes. I hate placing expectations on myself coming into these races. The field is as deep as ever. The competition is stacked. All I can do is have my own best personal performance. And it's like Russian roulette out there. Anything can happen at Unbounds. As long as I know I can put it all out there, I'll be stoked.
Well, getting back up from her crash, LDC was able to catch back up to the group and hang on. So, well, maybe her day isn't over after all.
You can just have a little crash at any moment. That doesn't help the morale. It doesn't help you physically. It's just another barrier on top of the distance, on top of the heat, on top of the wind, and on top of the competition.
Let's touch base with the men.
The chase behind has a lot of work to do. There is still a small group between. Oh, we got a crash here. Keegan's down. Keegan is down.
Geez. That's a big blow. We've not talked about him a whole lot today, and this is not the way we wanted to talk about him.
That's the thing, there are technical sections on this course, but a crash like that can happen anywhere. That was a dead straight section of road, looked pretty smooth, and it just takes a quick moment, and your race can completely change.
Simon, you're definitely showing some of the signs of strain as well. So, yeah, anybody's guess right now as both riders wearing that fatigue very clearly on their shoulders.
So this is one of our men's chase groups, and on one of our other camera angles a minute ago, I saw one of the SWAT club guys literally stop pedaling and start stretching, which means cramps. And it looks like this main chase group has completely exploded at this point.
The window of opportunity is not closed completely, but it's really come down a lot. I mean, I think really they would have had to have kind of lit that fire almost an hour ago at this point, because that gap was so big. And the shorter the runway gets, the less time you have to really get this done. So with our men now through feed zone number 2 at Council Grove, Cam Jones and Simone Pelot are still in the lead with now a 9-minute gap over the chasing group. Our leading trio of women, Carolina Migon, Lauren Stevens, and Cecily Decker, continue to add time over our chase group through feed zone number 2. That gap now stands at nearly 14 minutes. But that doesn't last long, because just past mile 148 is when we start to see some cracks in our leading trio. Carolina puts down the hammer, and while Cecily tries to respond, Lauren gets dropped off the back. This leaves Carolina in the lead of our women's race, with Cecily Decker trailing in second and Lauren getting caught by the chasing group coming up from behind. The 4 women catching up and passing Lauren are last year's winner Rosa Kloser, Cecile Lejeune, your series leader Sofia Gomez Villafane, and Lauren De Crescenzo.
And, early on, I always like to say early in a bike race, everyone feels good. But eventually you have to pay the piper. And I think we're seeing that now. It has become a race of, in large part, groups of 2s and 3s, maybe 4, which is different than last year.
Yeah, it's vastly different than any edition I've seen. Very often we see those small breakaways, but then it's generally a reasonable size chase group coming up from behind. As now you can clearly see our riders going along the top of the Cajola Lake there, and again a wide open section there, kind of on both sides. And so I imagine a good bit of wind coming across. It looks like they're actually in a little bit of an echelon formation there, so the wind probably coming from the right just a little bit. The upper right there is...
They're flying.
Yeah, they're moving, right?
Look at these guys.
It's so easy to see using those cement blocks in the background as an indicator.
Okay, we're here at mile 176 on Cajola Hill, which happens to be the longest climb on the course. It's about a half-mile long. Not very long as compared to maybe some other climbs out there, but you hit it really deep in the race. It looks like on Saturday it's going to be hot, it's going to be sunny. This climb is also super, super exposed. If it's windy, there's nowhere to hide. Back in 2019, I remember actually cramping on this hill, even though it's not that long. So once you're that deep into the race, Cajola Hill's definitely really going to hurt. And one other cool thing about this section of the course is most of the pros will be catching a lot of the 100-milers at this point. And oftentimes there's a long line of people, even just walking up this climb, cheering for the pros as, you know, we rip by trying to decide our race. So it's a classic part of the Unbound course.
Well, Cahola Hill, the real deal. It is pointing straight up. There are a lot of folks going different speeds. You can see the excited folks don't know what's going on. Cam, just a little bit of tap saying, guess what, guys? We are rolling through. Kind of like the Tour, kind of like the Giro on those mountaintops. This is out in the Flint Hills. These two are now trying to keep their momentum. What a gap they have over the chase. They know it. They're getting their first real splits. Cam soaking some stuff up, some information. These guys are thirsty. It is full exposure out here. Once we pass the lake, you could just tell the winds are howling. So filling you in from the field from our perspective. One more hill to go.
Highland Hill is fast approaching. That's going to be the final opportunity to use any sort of an incline as a springboard. And we've been saying it. We think Palou may be ready to play out that card, but we are going to see here momentarily.
All right, Cam, in my opinion, even though he knows he might be stronger in a sprint, he's got to assume that maybe Simon is going to.
Whoa, look at this, look at this, look at this.
I was just going to say.
He's riding away. No way. Cam Jones with the attack right from the front. So Simon Jones wasting no time. Palou literally no response. So this is the move. Cam Jones looking back over his shoulder, out of the saddle again. A big acceleration as he's now coming into that deviation area. So Cam Jones making the moves along the home straight here. And I'll tell you what, we couldn't have asked for a better day. Coming across the line with a huge win at the 2025 Lifetime Unbound presented by Shimano. Cam Jones out of New Zealand will be your champion on the day. They're coming in with a well-deserved silver medal and not too unhappy about it, tossing a bottle to the crowd. Simon Palou, the aggressive rider, Tourborn Road, doing what we know he can do. He's just enough in the tank, takes one look back. Toby Road will be your bronze medalist here today with a well-executed sprint.
I am Meredith Miller, and I am here with Cameron Jones, your Unbound 200 men's winner. Not only did you punch your ticket for the wild card selection, so you are now in the Grand Prix for the rest of the year, but you won Unbound with a long range attack with one other rider. Did you plan on doing that from the very beginning?
I think, like I was saying to you yesterday, I was like, it's probably my best interest to play it safe because there's more than just like the race on the line. There's the chance to be in the Grand Prix that could potentially lose if I did do sort of anything reckless. But I was the whole time just saying, who am I kidding? I'm just going to send it. Out on my recce rides, I thought that sort of towards the end of Divide Road would be a nice place to be in the front. It looks like it last year it sat up a bit, and then that next little loop, there's some technical stuff. It's always nice to be able to ride the front and actually see where you're going. It's safer, so when you can see any obstacles. I ended up going a bit earlier than I planned. It was all strung out coming into Eskridge, and saw Keegan and my buddy Max sort of chopping off at the front, and I went to join in the fun, and then rolled through, and they all stopped. So I just kept on going, and I was like, I'm committed now. So managed to bridge across to, there's actually quite a big group up the road. I hadn't really taken much notice of what was going on, and they were all spread out throughout Divide Road. And again, it was good to have everything sort of in single file and spaced out so I could see where I was going, and just rode straight through the initial break.
We've got a great chasing group, but they're as unified as they seem they're actually losing time still. So let's check in with Lauren Hall. Maybe she can give us a little more insight as to how these splits are going on up there.
Yeah, Bill, you were talking that there was only 20, 30 miles left, but we are in those long, late miles, right? And every hill is really starting to add up. Caro is definitely starting rocking side by side, taking on fuel. And when we were going up and over Cahola Hill, she was given the look back because she didn't know that split. I think she now knows the split to that chase group. But yeah, like you're saying, always cognizant of what's behind you. But Caro is definitely pushing forward.
But yeah, Mignon still looking strong. Decker, her teammate, back there just about 5 minutes down in this chase group. Maybe they were looking pretty unified, now looking maybe a little less so as they've reeled in Stevens. And we talked about the potential for that earlier. They knew 3 riders went off, but that was so many hours ago that they've caught one of them now. So maybe they're kind of, not resting on their laurels a little bit, but they're like, all right, we kind of closed that chapter, so we're going to take just a little bit of a breather right now. And obviously that's not going to help their cause into trying to compete for those top 2 positions. So here we are on Highland Hill, the final incline of the day, and doesn't have to worry about a surprise attack from anybody. Can just ride her tempo a little bit, and it's going to be one of the biggest wins as we've got one of our great fans out there, and I bet she's looking at that hot dog and maybe salivating a little bit about what's to come here to enjoy the fruits of her labor.
Yeah.
She is celebrating, so what a great champion out here today to cap off our women's elite 200-mile race, round number 2 of the Life Time Grand Prix. Your champion just about to get herself across the line. It looks to me like there's a whole lot of emotion in this finish. I would imagine some tears are being shed because what a day on the bike. The crowd showing their love, the hands in the air well before the finish line. And I'll tell you what, you couldn't ask for a better finish than this. 2 hours solo to take the win here. Silver medal ride on the day going to go to Cecile Decker, and she's looking like she can't even celebrate right now. She is cooked. And here comes our women's chase, getting ready to fight it out for the 3rd step on the podium here at Highland Hill.
Oh, Cecile making the first move here. Huge acceleration from Cecile Lejeune right now. Hard to see if anyone was able to follow her wheel.
Yeah.
Not surprised given the way that, okay, we see the wheel there. That's Rosa right there.
Yeah, Rosa very quick to react. Remember when Sofia attacked a while ago, Rosa was the first one to respond. So Sofia, look at Sofia's body language, the shoulders.
Through him.
That would look at this one rider going Rosa going the wrong way, making that turn. So that's going to be potentially a big issue if Cecile Lejeune realizes what happened. Waiting to see if Sofia makes the big move around. Rosa not making a move. There goes Cecile Lejeune up along the fencing. Lejeune coming up. That door going to stay open. It's going to be, this is down to the wire. Sofia looks like she's going to have enough. Can Rosa come on by? All the way to the line. That is close. It looks from our vantage point like Sofia just got that one on the line. Yeah. What an amazing finish. Yeah.
Hey, this is Payson McKelvin with today's winner, Caro, who just finished a 40-mile solo, 2-hour solo. Tell me about what was going through your head those last couple of hours.
I just thought if I was stupid or genius. I didn't know if I will make it till the finish. I would say till last 5K.
Really? You didn't know that you had an 18-minute lead. Well, Cecily was maybe, I think, 6-7 minutes back, but to the third group, you had a huge lead.
Okay, I was not aware. I knew that Cecily was back, but I also know that she's super strong. And you also can have a flat, you can crash, you never know.
So you were on the gas all the way until Highland Hill, or when did you allow yourself to start enjoying it a little bit?
Yeah, the last tarmac climb. Then I knew that I won, and I started to really smiling and just couldn't believe.